Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look this month at some of the last of the Kingdom toys to come out, and a few others that I've managed to snag throughout the line. Unfortunately, it took me until near the end of its run to finally get some of them. However, today we're taking a look at one of the recent releases. This is Slammer. Now, Slammer, of course, here is a weaponizer, as his original form in Generation 1 was as an extra figure included with one of the base characters. In the Generation 1 continuity, Slammer was released as the drone tank controlled by Metroplex. So, the only bit of transformation we got out of the Generation 1 Slammer was that we could turn him into a tower to be featured in Metroplex's City Mode. Whenever Metroplex was not in City Mode, Slammer would function as a tank, basically providing covering fire or getting into areas that Metroplex himself could not fire upon. So now this would be the first time that we get Slammer in a robot mode. And as is typical with all the Weaponizer characters, he does break down completely and can be rebuilt into one weapon system. Unlike many of the others where they got at least two, Slammer here only gets one. But of course, let's take a decent look at his robot mode, since this is the first time he's gotten one. And for any of you who had heard that he was going to be released, you'll be pleased to note that since he is a weaponizer, he does not copy any of the parts from Warpath. Because early on, I know many of us, especially when we think about how cheap Hasbro likes to go with many of these toys, they would have probably just slapped a fresh coat of paint on Warpath and tried to pass that off as Slammer. But no, they actually went the extra mile on this one. In a little bit, we'll take a look at all of Slammer's accessories, because he does take a fair amount of effort to break down. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at his articulation. His head can be turned from side to side, and it is on a ball joint, so he can look up and down a bit. His arms can be raised out so far, and they do rotate at the shoulders all the way. Although this post on the inside of his arms can catch on the treads on his back. His arm can be bent at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep. Of course, you have to be careful with that, because his arms do detach at the bicep. He can be twisted at the hip. His legs can be spread apart into a full splits. He also has a cut at the thigh, so you can adjust his leg by the thigh. You can raise his legs up about 100 degrees, and you can bend his leg at the knee almost 180 degrees. So he's got quite a lot of articulation going for him. Okay, to transform Slammer into his alternate mode, he is like a brake former, because you are going to be taking him apart in sections and then reforming him. First thing we got to do is we have to remove the gun barrel from his hand. Then you will take both of his arms and you're going to turn them so that the posts are pointing out the back and the holes here are facing the front. Then you will move his arms out to the sides like so, and then you will bend them at the elbow, just like that. Then next we're going to remove his arms, And then the arms will plug together with a couple of posts and holes that are on the shoulders. And of course, the posts and the holes are only on the side with the painted stripes. They do not exist on the opposite side. So you can't mess that up. Once you got the shoulders connected, we'll set that aside for the time being. Then you're going to come down here and we're going to remove his legs at the thigh. We'll just lay him down for a moment. Then you're going to take each leg and you will fold out the side piece like so. Okay, it turned out I had the legs on backwards. My mistake. The tread side should face outwards. Alright, and once you've done that, then you will take the knee joint and fold the leg inward like that. And that's it. Get his legs ready. Set those aside. Then we'll come back here to the body. We're going to remove the backpack. And we just lay that down for the moment. So we're going to take his body. We'll turn the head to face the other way. And then you just fold it downwards like so. And we're going to set it down for a second. Then we come back here to the backpack. This top post here is removable. I will warn you now, folks, this piece, it is snug when you buy it brand new, but on my sample here, after the first removal, it is mysteriously very easy to remove, so be careful with that, because that could make the piece very easy to get lost. But at any rate, once you've removed that piece, we get the arms, and you're going to take these posts that are here on the shoulders and plug them in into the two holes near the back, like so. Then we'll take that black piece we removed, and then we connect it here onto the arms. And once that's done, you can then put the gun barrel on, like so. Then we're going to take both of the legs. The legs have a hole on the bottom, and they should connect to the posts here on the tread. Just make sure that this back leg cover goes along the back of the tank. Just press it on down just like that. Then, of course, once you have that done, we'll take the tank turret and we're going to fold it down so that it rests on the legs. Then we get Slammer's body. We attach it to the front of the tank. And we come down here. We'll turn the hip to the opposite direction and you just fold it underneath. And then there you have it. Slammer is in his tank mode. Excuse me for a second. Oh, it would be so nice if everybody at places would communicate well with each other. Okay, sorry about the interruption, folks. This is the Slammer in the tank mode. Of course, this is with the Generation 1 version, so you can see how it compares. Of course, naturally, this one is considerably larger. And while he's mostly on fake treads, he does have some wheels under the body and in this rear section. So, Slammer at least can roll on his treads. How well does he roll? About par for the course for a tank. But that's better than the Generation 1 version, which had no treads. So, he at least has that going for him. Alright, I'm going to break Slammer apart here so we can show you all the pieces. Okay, lying here before you are all the loose pieces to Slammer. Start here in the front. You have 2 sets of tank treads. They are an opposite pair. And of course we've got his backpack. This is what the treads hang on when he's in robot mode. And then of course there's this piece here. It's the lower piece to the backpack. And this is the piece I talked about earlier that does get it's rather snug on a brand new toy, but after I've removed it only once to play with it prior to showing it to you here on the channel, and now all of a sudden it's very, very loose. So this is a piece I'm very worried about getting lost. So do bear that in mind, folks, if you are buying this toy loose. Of course, while we're back here, we'll also show off the tank gun. Really nice. And of course, we've got the hip joint, which I just dropped on the floor. All these years, haven't played Ken Griffey's winning run on my Super Nintendo, and I still hear Butterfingers. Alright, that's the hip piece. And of course, we've got the upper body. Of course, that's where the head is. Say hi to the world, Slammer. That's the upper body. Turn it over here a little bit. And we've got the leg pieces. I just want another one. The shoulders. There's the other one. And then lastly, we have 2 arms. Alright, that shows off all the loose parts for Slammer. But as we've pointed out, Slammer is a weaponizer. So, we will want to get sections of him readied. Part A will be the hip piece. Part B, of course, is the upper body. To get it ready, we have to swing out this piece underneath so that it's out and ready. Part C will involve the tank treads. There's the post here on the one tread and a hole on the other. So you would just slide them together like so. Then, of course, once they are together, to help hold them in place, we'll take the small piece to the backpack and attach it on, like so. And then this is part C. Part D is, of course, his legs. Well, we gotta fold this piece back in. And there we go, that's part D. Part E will involve, we take the backpack unit and we attach the gun into one of the holes at the bottom. And then of course, for part F, we have to take the arms, have the non-striped side facing. You point it downward. And then we're going to insert an arm like so that they point out like that. Do the same thing here with the other arm. And there we go, that's part F. Get everything all together here in the camera. Now, of course, the instructions to the toy use Wheeljack as the figure, but the box uses Pipes, since Pipes was released at the same time. And since we're going to cover Pipes on our next review, he's out and he's handy, so we'll just use Pipes instead. Alright, to get him ready in the Weaponizer mode, we start by, not the legs, we start with the arms. You're going to set the arm pieces like so. And then they will plug in into the white portion of the arms into Pipes' feet. Or whoever's feet, depending on whoever you're using. Just like that. Then we shall turn Pipes around. And we take the torso piece. We're going to take this post here at the bottom of it, and we plug it into the hole here on Pipes' back. It ain't going to go in very far on Pipes, but it's far enough in. And then we'll take the hip piece. We plug that in up here. Like that. Stay up, Pipes. Once it's up, we'll fold out the black pieces into a splits, because that's when we're going to take the legs here. We plug them in like so, so that it looks like from the front he's got a missile launcher. And then he'll take the weapons, and we will plug them into his arms. So he's got the treads doubling as a chainsaw blade, and a tank cannon on his other arm. And there's Slammer in his weapons mode. In a lot of ways, it looks a little ridiculous here on Pipes, but let's face it, most of the weapon modes did look rather ridiculous. So now we get down to my thoughts. It's good to see Slammer brought in as a weaponizer to join the others that have been done since the Siege line. Slammer is one of the more obvious ones that had been skipped, aside from his other buddy Scamper, the black car that was also included with Metroplex. Scamper has yet to get a modern release. Now, there are some that may argue that Cerebros and Full Tilt have also not gotten modern releases, but in ways they have, as both of them were included in the Titan's Return releases of Fortress Maximus and Triptychon, respectively. So in some ways, they've had a modern release, but not done as a weaponizer. It might be nice to see both of them get a weaponizer release as well, but then that would give us the hopes that in the near future we're going to get a new Fortress Maximus or Triptychon. So that's a tough call, folks, on that. Maybe we're better off leaving them as they were as Titan Master accessories versus making them weaponizers. However, in the case of Slammer, the robot mode, it looks pretty good. It's about what you would expect for a tank-like robot that doesn't look like Warpath. So he's a little less silly by not having his tank cannon protruding out of his chest. But then again, that would have worked also as well for Slammer. The tank mode, it's pretty good. It does highly resemble the Generation 1 version. And for fans like me, that's the icing on the cake. The weapon mode that's kind of funky, folks, because it is a little bit on the back-heavy side, or at least it is here on Pipes. Well, that, of course, the way Pipes' back hole is positioned doesn't really allow that to connect in very well, so if it weren't for the fact I'm supporting him against the wall here, he probably would fall down with it. But I do kind of like the tank cannon on here, and I gotta admit, the chainsaw blade on the other arm there, that's just icing on the cake for me. Especially if you're one of those people that enjoys the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or even Lollipop Chainsaw from the PlayStation 3 era. At any rate, it's kind of cool looking. I guess I can live with it. And that's my review of the Kingdom version of Slammer. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you also enjoy this type of content that we play here on the channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because we do appreciate the feedback here. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.